Welcome to More Experiments Moto Vlog. Today we're going to head to State Route 536 down in the southeastern corner of Ohio. Now, I'm confused, but I found other YouTube channels where the riders were calling State Route 536 Ohio's Tail of the Dragon. I could have swore that everyone called State Route 555, the Triple Nickel, Ohio's Tail of the Dragon. But at any rate, I'm going to go ride the other one. I've already been down the Triple Nickel. I've got a video to that I can link to below, and it was quite a lengthy vlog. But today I'm going to try to get State Route 536 on here. Now to get down there, I'm going to take some of these old rural side roads outside of Newark, Ohio, down to the national road, State Route 40. And State Route 40, I might turn on the vlog a couple times to tell you some things about. I've did some research on State Route 40, and it's quite an interesting road. It goes back to George Washington's time, even, if you include the whole road. It starts down around Baltimore, Maryland. The Cumberland Road is what it's called. So it started out as the Cumberland Road. But it extended all the way through Pennsylvania. After Maryland, it went through Pennsylvania, come on up to Ohio, a little bit of West Virginia there before it got to Ohio, and on out through Indiana, and ends in Illinois. If you're there's some people that are really into the road, and they're what you would call a purist, where they've defined a period of time when it was a federally funded road, I believe is what they consider the national road. And for normal people, it's you could say it goes all the way to St. Louis, Missouri, if you followed the entire road. And it was a major route as the country was being formed. It started out as a wagon trail for the military, and then it progressed on up to a major route for all the pioneers headed west. And it kind of lost its popularity around Ohio when the trains came. Once the trains were here, it was much easier to travel by train than by horse and buggy across the national road. And it's my understanding that bicycles actually brought back the national road, not cars. Bicyclists wanted good roads to ride on, and they got federal funding to get the national road back in order for travel. Well, of course, cars came along, and that made Interstate 40 one of the first major highways for cars. And people try to get romantic about the notion of car travel on Interstate 40, but it was actually really dangerous. The road wasn't safe in many places, and it didn't take long until, well, it did take a while. It took the late 60s, early 70s, I believe, Interstate 70 was made. And once a safe 4-lane road like Interstate 70 came into use, 40 kind of faded away. It's still a popular secondary route. I like it on motorcycles because it's just so straight and relaxing. and you don't have to maintain a 70 mile an hour speed, you know. And my wife, she's back there on the shadow, and this Goldwing does more than fine at 70 mile an hour with all of its fairings and everything, but it gets a little monotonous for any motorcycle, and it gets downright annoying if you don't have fairings, because you're just headed straight and the wind's beating you up back here. So I like to take 40 instead of Interstate 70 for that. So that's the plan today. After we get down to Cambridge, we probably will get back on the Interstate 70 for just a short bit and go down State Route 800 and pick up State 536. Right now we're on State Route 668. This will take us down to 40. It's a fun road. You can take it south of 40 and it turns into a lot of fun down there. The past couple days I've had some computer projects on the burner there that were quite the challenge. I didn't go for the Windows 10 free upgrade a while back, so I found a way to upgrade to Windows 10 to attempt to solve some problems I'm having, and it's been quite the ordeal. Nothing wanted to go. So if I had it to do all over again, I probably would have bought a new computer, but I didn't want to spend the money on a new computer because I have quite a bit of money into this one. Because to do video editing, you really need a SSD drive. Really helps. A lot of memory, that sort of thing. So to buy a new computer with all of that in it, it's expensive. It used to be that computers progress so fast that, you know, a new computer would be a significant upgrade. Well, today a new computer costs you quite a bit, but there's no significant performance improvement over one that's, oh geez, that computer I'm messing with, it's at least 4 years old. So I opted to fix it, and it took me quite a while. But I think we're ready, and I think I'll be back online with some good videos for everyone. At least as good as I can get them right now. We're passing Flint Ridge State Park. It's an interesting place to visit. It's a flint quarry. It's where Indians would come to, American Indians, gotta be careful these days. American Indians would come here to forge their arrows and their arrowheads. And it's like a small rock quarry, just like you'd think. You can see where they've busted the flintstone stones out of their place there to make arrows. And people may not believe it, but just about anybody that grew up in Ohio and farm areas can tell you, as soon as the fields were plowed, arrowheads would just come popping up everywhere. And that's in the majority of central Ohio. It's like that. Maybe other places, but I know in central Ohio there had to be a huge population for that many arrowheads to just come floating right up like that. It's something to consider about how big that civilization really was. Here we are in Barnsville on 668, getting ready to turn onto State Route 40, a national road. Got a beautiful bike. If you turn right there down that part of 668, that's a excellent motorcycle ride down there. And as we top this hill, we'll head off into 4-lane, and there's nothing historic to meet the eye, is there? Just a regular old 4-lane road. Yeah, you really have to look for the historic markers and things, but they're out here. Just in this area, there are 2 S bridges right off the road, and some old taverns. I'm going to try to keep this camera going for you. It's got problems as usual, but we'll get some of that in there. Just have a relaxing Sunday. So speaking of computer repairs, I've often thought of getting a Apple just because of their good reputation of not breaking down as often, not getting viruses, etc. And they have a good reputation for working well with Adobe, which is what I use, a lot of Adobe products. But I don't get one because it doesn't work for my employment or some other things. And the price, very expensive. So I enjoy watching van dwellers on YouTube. And it isn't because I want to live in a van. I wouldn't mind it, but I got other things I'd rather do more. And I own a home, so I just enjoy watching their lifestyle, though. Maybe someday, you never know. And they're watching how they do their videos is a good learning process, because a lot of these van dwellers are depending on their YouTube viewership for income. They don't need much, but what they do need is important to them, and YouTube can do that for them if they're good. And one of those is Nomadicfanatic, Eric Jacobs. He's an interesting dude to watch, and he's one of the better videographers out there. And his channel gets a little crazy sometimes, but I still enjoy it. And he's not afraid to get on camera and tell you his woes and his problems. It's part of the living in a van. People want to know, and want to know how he deals with it. Other people give him a lot of negativity for doing that, but I don't. Anyhow, he had his Apple computer break down. He said it was a 2015 he bought it, so it's not even 2 years old, and $3,400 he paid for it. He depends on it for his living, and he was having trouble getting it repaired. So it made me feel a little better about my situation with the Windows giving me problems. But I felt bad for him, because there really is no computing solution nowadays that is really foolproof. And we need these things today. We need the connectivity, we need the productivity that they provide, we need the communication. To operate in today's society, this is what you need. And Apple used to be a relatively good answer, and it's not so much anymore. It was interesting to see how he deals with it. Right now, he didn't give the breakdown of how it was resolved, at least not that I've watched yet. So it'll be interesting. He was up in the UP, and they were going to send him all the way over to Wisconsin or all the way down to Detroit. I'll have to see how it panned out for him. There's the Smith House, they're calling it now. That's a old tavern. Been around since the 1800s. I believe early 1800s too. We're coming under the Interstate 70 and State Route 40 interchange just outside of Zanesville, Ohio. When we get into Zanesville, that part of 40 is the original. And it hasn't varied much that I understand since the beginning of the National Road. We've just entered the Zanesville city limits on State Route 40. An old Sinclair gas station sign. And I would imagine that was a Sinclair gas station at some point. And soon we're going to come up on the Y Bridge, which is a unique feature in Zanesville. It's a bridge that you can cross and still be on the same side of the river. I've got some video of the overlook that explains more about it. And trying to decide how to do this. We want to go straight. Alright, we're going to be coming on the Y Bridge right here, right now. And it's a art district of sorts, so over to the left you have vases. Something to do with Zanesville being big in pottery. And we're going to take it to the right here. It's a nice park there to watch the rapids of the river. But we're going to head straight on through downtown. Beautiful courthouse. one of the things I like about coming through these old historic roads is if you let your imagination run just a little bit, you can kind of get a feel for what it was like long before you were born even. I could easily see that place back in the 1940s. Yeah, I've seen that church many times, but I just now noticed the mural is something to do with American Indians. I'll have to find out more about it sometime. Sadly, some of these neighborhoods have really fallen apart over the years. But these neighborhoods do hold character. An old mail pouch sign. The East End Cafe. We're just headed out of Zanesville and State Route 40 right now. This is another interesting thing about Interstate 40 is things like motels falling apart and things that at my age I seen that place when it was brand new, and it's falling apart now too. Things just kind of move along. There goes one that really didn't care, huh? She wasn't even looking at the road. Oh well. You just gotta be careful out here. This is 40 way out on the east side of Zanesville. It kind of gives you more of a feel of what the last version of the national road was before the interstate came in. It was well built for the time, but the volume it must have been getting was probably pretty phenomenal. I bet you that this wasn't an easy road to drive. At the time this was in operation, you had trucks that couldn't climb a hill very well, so I could see long lines of traffic behind numerous trucks. Every once in a while you'll spot a motel out here that was the standard, single story layout. And a lot of them are still in operation as apartments. Naturally, with this being a historic road, the antique stores out here are everywhere. And it's quite the popular route for people that are into antiques. Once you get out in Pennsylvania, there's quite a bit of antique stores that cater to the tourists there too. Right up here on the left, we'll pass the standard old motel from the old days. This one used to be called the Baker Hotel. It's still standing. Sometimes they knock his stuff down. Yeah, that's up here. Yeah, there is the Baker's Motel. It says Norwich Antiques and More now, though, so I bet you there's something else going on there. Well, that over there is the S Bridge. One of a few that are left on the bridge. And they built them like that to cover a cross section where they wanted to go over a creek at a crossways angle. Well, you just put an S bridge and it was strong as could be. And most of them are still around. Could handle traffic if they had to, I imagine. The university is coming up here. This is a small college town for Muskingum University. It's a beautiful campus back there. There's another antique store. Gonna go through the town of Cambridge right now. The historic town of Cambridge. A place we like to stop a lot up here is Theo's Restaurant. I can't remember if they're open on Sunday, but if we're gonna get this road done today, I don't have that much time to stop really. But it is right here on the right. Excellent place to eat. And up here on the left, we're going to come across the courthouse. And a minivan that doesn't understand right-of-ways. A very old Ford dealer sign. It's hard to believe car dealers used to fit in those little buildings like that. Big old grizzly bear right there. Actually, pretty cool carving. A lot of work went into that one. We have to get back on Interstate 70 at this point. Exit 202 was the exit for this. Quite the container operation they got going on there. Beaver excavating. I've seen where they make homes out of those shipping containers. But apparently they make entire businesses out of them now too. Well, we'll get on down here to Woodsfield, I believe is the name of the town. I'll have to check again. But I kind of just feel my way through on these roads. You never know when you're going to lose your GPS though, or your cell phone service. You kind of want to have a good idea where you're going. This is Barnsville, Ohio. We're on 800 South. Headed down to Woodsfield. Really old town. There's a fracking truck. I believe that's a water hauler or a brine hauler, I guess they call it. There's an old gas station. Looks like it's been converted into a Chinese restaurant there. There's a Goldwing rider. Really nice old Goldwing. That's just a little sample of the fun on this road. It goes for quite a ways. Good times. breakers on the side of the road there. It's like one of them wrecked or broke down or something right there. This 800 just keeps going and going. Beautiful views, twisting, turning roads. This is an awesome ride in and of itself. Monroe County, just crossed the county line into Monroe. Malaga, Ohio is the town we're entering right now. Looks like we got a motorcycle stop here. I'll have to look into putting into my website. Woody's. Beer as cold as ex-girlfriends. And we made it to Woodsfield. Still on 800 now. We're going to turn left on 78 East for just a short bit until we find 536. So we've turned on to 78 East in Woodsfield, Ohio. And we have a few miles to go down this road until we get to 536, which is, by some people's account, Ohio's tail of the dragon. After we get through Woodsfield, we're going to follow that down to 536, as I was saying earlier, before my battery cut me off. But this 536 will run us down to the Hannibal Locks in Hannibal, Ohio. This is the 536 turnoff. We just made it to the other end of 26, and I think I may have had an idea to solve the camera issues. So we're going to try to get 26 recorded. And this is probably what I would consider the most incredible road in Ohio. 26, which is very close to it, is a great road too. But I can see why they call this Ohio's tail of the dragon. This is the little town of Hannibal right here. And we're going to have to leave the camera alone. It'll either make it or it won't. I'm hoping for the best. most of this ride, I'll probably be quiet and concentrating on this road. I just noticed they had a speed limit, which I would like to honor here, because these good people probably don't thoroughly enjoy motorcycles making a racket up and down through here, so I'll try to honor their privacy and quiet. And I definitely learned something with the Cena 10C today. Carry rubber bands, because the connection goes loose on you is what happens, and that explains my battery problem. We had a problem where the motorcycle wouldn't turn the single lane light for us, and a car behind us that wouldn't come forward. And off we go. And a cow on the road. Oh boy. You need a slow moving vehicle sign on her ass. All right. Well, that was funny. Goes to show you, though, on these curvy old roads, you don't know what's around that corner. Turkey. What a ride, huh? Well, there she is. Just took her a minute to get there. When you got cows in the road and stuff, probably not a bad idea to take your time. '78 coming up. We're gonna turn west, and that was probably the best ride I've ever had in Ohio. That was beautiful, absolutely stunning and beautiful. I highly recommend 536 to anyone who wants a nice ride. That's anywhere within quite some distance of Ohio, because all the roads to get here aren't bad either. So I want to test this and turn it off and make sure it recorded. It's beautiful. Now we're going to take Highway 78 back over to the McConnellsville area and slip up Highway 60 to home, depending on how much daylight we got left. Yeah, it's going to be tight. We're going to have to skedaddle. Well, we're going to have to hurry if we want to make it before it gets dark and cold. I'm fine out on the Goldwing with the luxury, but my wife back there, she's just on a shadow with a small fairing, so we got to think about that. We're coming into Woodsfield now on 78. There's a couple bikes. got that camera issue panned out. I'm really happy about that. It's going to have a nice video of, to the best of my knowledge, that is the best road in Ohio. And as I explained earlier, Highway 26, which takes you down to Marietta, is not far from that. You could combine one heck of a ride with that. That's vacation worthy, really, if you're not from around here. It's a lot of interesting sights there on the Ohio River. Now during the week, I don't know how the fracking operations in the area are affecting those roads. It's my guess that most trucks can't make it up and down that road, but you're still going to have dairy trucks and probably water trucks that can make it on that road. Now I have to find the guy that published the video that told me to go to that. It was an old video and it was in a car, but I didn't know that road existed like that until I seen his video, and I thought, this guy's confused. That's not Ohio's tail of the dragon. The Triple Nickel's the tail of the dragon. He was not confused. I can definitely see where people would call that Ohio's tail of the dragon. But for me, I've changed the name for me. That is the tail of the cow. I didn't see no dragons, but I seen a cow. So that's Ohio's tail of the cow. It looks like 78's not too bad out here. I've read this before, but so far it's a really nice road. Favorite rural sites right there is the old mail pouch tobacco barns. They're all over this great country. And if you don't know the story of them, I'll tell you a little bit while we're out here riding. Mail pouch did not pay to have that put on most barns. They may have paid for some, but most, the only reason the farmer had them do it was because it was a free coat of paint, which is fairly expensive. It's a free coat of paint on the barn, so you know, they could care less what it said. And money wasn't flying around like crazy back when they did a lot of those, you know, back in the Depression era, times of old. Here's another one right here. All those leaves are starting to change. Fall is coming early this year to Ohio, that's for sure. That changes your riding habits when that weather starts changing. You start having to be home earlier because if you stay out, you better be bundled up. It'll drop down into them 40s. Ain't no fun riding at night in weather like that. We're racing against that clock a little bit tonight. More pipeline project. It's a scary thing, this fracking. I think I've talked about it before, but I don't know which side of that coin I'd land on. It's definitely good for the economy, but is it good long term? Because if there's health effects, I don't care what the economy is doing. But I guess you have to have faith in the Lord and everything else to trust these shysters to come down here and do the right thing. That's about all you can do, is hope for the best. Yeah, we're entering Summerfield. Wow, more pipeline project. This stuff is everywhere down here. Wonder what my temperature's showing now. 64 degrees, we're dropping fast. Better get these bikes home before too long. This little town here is called East Union. Looks like they do some yard sailing there, flea market yard sailing. Yeah, it's nights like these when I'm like so glad I got my Goldwing. Because when you make a purchase like this, you have to wonder, is it worth it? Will I use it enough? You know, is the enjoyment I get out of that going to be worth that payment? Well, for me it is. Now, for you, it could differ. And it's just a matter of what you enjoy, really. If you like to explore, if you like a little bit of stress but not too much, motorcycles could work, because you just get out here and enjoy the countryside. Now, if you hate reading maps, and if you hate exploring, I wouldn't bother with a Goldwing. I really wouldn't. It's too much of an investment if you don't go the distances. If you don't need the comfort and everything, why pay for it, you know? But if you do need the comfort and you are going to use it, that payment is well worth it when you look at the price of four-wheelers or boats or campers, RVs, this type of thing. Hey, the Goldwing's a good deal. It keeps you busy, keeps you smiling, doesn't take up much room in the garage. I mean, if you've got the really tiny garage, it'll fit in there. And even if you don't have a garage, there's cover systems you can get for them that work well. Yeah, it's a fine thing to have. This fall weather's coming, and I can take off on a crisp fall morning and get out there and see the sights. Way more enjoyable than seeing them from a minivan. But it's your decision, your choice. I'm just saying that for me, this is phenomenal. Rides like this just put a smile on my face. This is definitely deer country. So with that being said, we're gonna ride like it. You don't go headlong into deer country running like a banshee. Kind of back it off a little bit, take it easy. And sometimes there's nothing you can do. But if you got your speed down, you could change a fatality to just an injury, or just an injury to nothing at all. Now, some of you that might not have been on a motorcycle in quite some time, and you're considering a Goldwing, it's something that considers. You probably want to go back and take your motorcycle safety course again. I really urge people to do that. Wrecking's painful, and it puts a black eye on the whole thing for a lot of people. You know, if one guy goes out, he does a number on himself, and someone else in the family or another friend wants to get one, well, that wreck's going to be brought up over and over and over. Oh, you can't get that motorcycle, somebody else wrecked. Well, you know, people go down on water skis and fall off their four-wheelers, wreck their boat, you name it. There's no foolproof thing to be doing out here. And motorcycles are dangerous, don't get me wrong. But it's a managed risk, just like anything else. We're hitting Zanesville. Oh, that sounds good about now, don't it? I just missed my turn. No, I didn't. It's down here. That pizza, cold beer, ice cream. I'm hungry enough to eat them all right now. Well, it's bittersweet that the sun's going down, because once that goes down, it's going to get cold out here. But it sure is making things beautiful. Oh, now there's a nice view. Just kind of take that pre-fall view into consideration when you think about retiring in Florida, when it's getting just pummeled by the hurricanes down there. My thoughts and prayers go out to them, but so many people leave Ohio dreaming of that beach. I just don't get it sometimes. It's just my opinion. That my opinion is this isn't so bad. Cumberland, Ohio. Looks like they're into the jet skis there. That is an old school there. Well, I'm glad I got the camera on. At least I think I do. I need to come back here with the camera. this town I definitely have to mark to come back to. Definitely do. Miles to the wilds. We just entered Muskingum County now, so we're getting closer to Licking County. You know what they say about riding when it gets like this? Leave earlier. Leave earlier so you don't end up in deer country at night on a motorcycle. That's my safety tip for the day. I wished I'd listened to my own advice. I believe that was a Studebaker that just went by, or a Packard. Studebaker had the big dot in the middle, big round circle with a dot in the middle there. And we've made it back to Zanesville. Something to eat sounds like a fine idea, doesn't it? I know Tammy's out of fuel back there though, so getting her some fuel is actually a priority. Wake up. See, now that's just insane. That's parents allowing that is insane. Having a kid out in the dark, riding his bicycle around with no lights, it's just no call for it. What's that kid got to do that he's out there like that? It's a shame. If they don't care about their kid out riding like that, I bet you there's a whole bunch of other things they don't care if he's doing it. Well, we made it back to Newark. So, all's well that ends well. But what a nice day to ride. Those days are definitely numbered. I wouldn't know how many, but we usually run out of them by the end of October. And November, occasionally you get a few. December, you occasionally get a few. January, February, most of March, forget it. But, you know, makes your motorcycle last longer. You just have to get your, what I call your bad weather mobility device running again. I haven't touched mine for most of the summer. You know, even when it rains, I've taken the Goldwing. So, Highway 536, State Route 536. What a ride, huh? I'm still blown away by it. A couple hours away from it, and I'm still thinking, wow, what a ride. For now, I'm going to say goodbye. Everybody stay safe out there. Have fun. Enjoy the fall weather. Goodbye.